Happy Thursday, everybody. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall, and I'm an intimacy and empowerment coach. And to me, that means that I am here to help women, people, humans, deepen into intimacy with themselves and with others, really own their pleasure and their power, and live a joyful life they absolutely love. And part of how I do that is I come on every week and do these weekly tea break chats and Q&As where we sit and have a cuppa, talk about life, talk about what's been going on. I share kind of lessons, challenges, all the stuff in the last week, and then I answer your questions. Now, I usually talk pretty fast when I do these, but this week is going to have to be even shorter than usual because I am running a tad bit behind and have to go pick up my kids from school, and they would not be very happy if I forgot them. So I'm going to make this shorter, which is not always my strong suit because I talk a lot. So in terms of what's been going on, what's been coming up, all of the things, I think the thing that I really just want to talk about briefly is how for a lot of us, there's a lot going on at this time of year. We are only like a week and a half away from Christmas at this point, something like that. And, you know, the month of December can often bring up lots of stuff in terms of activities. And then it can also bring up lots in terms of emotions. And that's all on top of what already feels like pretty full lives for all of us, most of us. So it can be a lot. And so I just wanted to kind of address that. And I think I talked about it a little bit last week as well, because one of the questions that I got asked last week was about how to kind of handle the overwhelm of this time of year. So I definitely recommend going back to watch that if you want to. But just in terms of like kind of my personal life, because last week when that question came up, I talked about like saying no to invitations, staying home to rest, doing what feels good to you, all of that stuff, which 100% true. But I just wanted to, sort of recognize what's been coming up and going on and whatever in my life too. Because I am very much feeling like, so December is always a bit of a weird month for all of the reasons I just said. It's the month when things really went downhill quite quickly for me and my ex-husband. So that was 4 years ago now. But so December has a lot of luckily it's lessening now quite significantly. This year is far less weird than the previous 3 years have been in terms of that stuff, but it's still there. So there's various events that happen in December, various photo memories pop up, but like events and triggers that remind me of, oh, at this time 4 years ago, then that. At this time 4 years, that sort of thing. So even though, like I said, the emotional intensity has lessened quite significantly, the memories are still there and the stuff comes up. And it just, takes a bit of energy to sort of decide what to do with that memory. So, to decide, is this a thing that still holds a lot of intensity, a lot of meaning, a lot of emotion behind it for me? Or is this just the memory popped up and like, okay, the emotional charge is gone and I let it carry on. Now, that's not a rational decision. That's not like do I choose to put this feelings against it or not? But it's a checking in with my body of, is this a thing for me? Yes or no? And then if it is a thing, sort of dealing with it. So that, then as you may or may not know, I'm an expat. So I'm an American living in England. I've been here for 13 years now. None of my family is here. All of my family is still back home in Wisconsin. So there's always stuff around the holidays, like coming up with that. When I was married, I spent the holidays with my in-laws. I haven't had that for the last few years. So there's stuff around missing family. There's stuff around, what am I doing for the holidays for me and my girls? We 50-50 co-parent now. So it's not just me and my girls. Sometimes it's just me. Sometimes it's, how do I want to spend the holidays for me? What is it that I want to do in this time? And sometimes that can all be kind of overwhelming. And I can be like, I don't even want to to deal with all of that. So sometimes I want to sort of disassociate and sort of numb out from this, which to me generally looks like zoning out with popcorn and Netflix, and really just sort of, and the thing with that is that it can feel like, oh, I'm having a rest, I'm having downtime. But if it's not intentional, then it can just end up being like a numbing out tool. And then you're not actually getting the processing time or the resting time or any of that. So that's just something that I'm kind of constantly aware of, particularly at this time of year. And then there can be the pressure of creating the magic for your kids, which definitely I feel like most parents feel some element of that, just to varying degrees. My girls are 4 and 6 this year, so very much prime Christmas magic age. And lots of people do a lot to really enhance that magic. I don't. And then sometimes I struggle with the guilt around that. Sometimes I struggle with, should I be doing more? Really bigging this up, but that's not my style. And I think that magic can be found in lots of little day things too, which really, side note, was highlighted for me when I, at the suggestion of my mentor, Diana, Diana runs a intentional holidays program. And we've been talking about how you want the holidays, how you basically want to design your own holidays, intentional holidays. Holidays for the English folk watching. By that I mean like Christmas, those holidays, not vacation holidays. And anyway, so one of the things that she talked about was sitting down with your kids and writing a list of things that they want to include in the holidays and that you want to include, like, traditions you've done in the past, new things you want to add in, just, sitting down as a family and seeing what you're clear on. And I did this for the first time this year, and I thought, oh, good, here we go. My kids are going to have, like, outrageous things that they want for Christmas magic. No, what absolutely blew me away was how simple their requests were. The things that were on their must-have Christmas list were a Christmas tree, fairy lights, stockings, mince pie for Santa and carrots for the reindeer, tinsel on the tree. Like, their list was the stuff that I absolutely considered the bare minimum. Like, I was listening to this going, of course we're going to do that stuff. Like, of course we're going to have a tree and we're going to, like, leave the, something for Santa on Christmas Eve. Like, obviously. So it really highlighted to me that for them, the magic is found in these little things. So I come back to that when I'm feeling the guilt sneaking in of, oh my gosh, am I doing enough for them? Am I making this magical enough? The magic is already here. It's in the air right now. It's found in so many simple little places. And in a lot of ways, I just kind of have to go along with it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to create it. There's lots that you can do to create that. And if you love that and you love infusing magic like everywhere you possibly can, and I know, like I said, my mentor Diana, she absolutely adores creating extra magic wherever she can. Wonderful. If that lights you up, do it. For me, it's just not my thing as much. It's not that I don't love the magic. You guys know I love magic around here. But doing all of those extra things just adds a layer of stress for me as opposed to a layer of fun. So really, I'm just soaking up the little things and really being present with those, my girls, and going with what's already here, going with what we've got, rather than trying to stress out about all kinds of new things. And so, oh my goodness, how is time flying? Okay, that's all I have for life update, because I need to move on to the question that I got this week. The question that I had this week. So if you watch my stories, you might have seen that I went down to London on Monday for a networking event. And if you watched the Tea Break Chat last week, I was all blah, 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 because I had just gotten back from a Women in Business networking event that day. I had literally just gotten back, so I was all buzz. But yeah, went down to London for that this week. And so the question, and I posted that in my stories. So the question that I got came in response to that of, oh my gosh, how, I'm watching you do these networking events and that seems terrifying to me. Have you got any hints, tips, experience with it? It was a fairly open-ended question. Yes. So I guess my quick answer to that, since I'm so sorry I'm out of time almost, my quick answer to that is it's not always easy for me, to be honest. Particularly, so it's funny because the one that I went to last week in Sheffield, I knew one of the speakers who was going to be speaking at the event, but I only know her through one other networking event meeting. We've had a few texts in between, but other than that, I've never like sat down with her face to face or anything. So it was a very kind of tenuous link, but I knew her and I didn't know anybody else going, but it was here in Sheffield. That one didn't actually feel all that scary to go to, probably because it was pretty local. I knew it was going to be small. This one in London that I went to, I knew one person who I was going with, the one who invited me to go with her, but I knew it was going to be a much bigger event. I didn't know anybody. Honestly, I wasn't even all that nervous going into it. Didn't really cross my mind to be nervous. I was just like, oh, yay, a day out in London, and, you know, got the logistics sorted. And then I walked in and I was like, oh, feel the nerves kick in. There's a lot of people here, a lot who know each other who I don't know. And I think that was the key difference compared to last week's in Sheffield. Last week's in Sheffield, most people did not know each other. And it was small. So like you didn't feel like you were just going to loiter on the edges and have nobody talk to you, because it was so small that like you were instantly like talking to somebody. Whereas this London one, it was at a much bigger venue. There's people, so it was local chapters of a women in business network. The local chapters all came together for this Christmas event. So lots of them knew each other from monthly meetings already anyway. So I very much felt, including the woman who I went with, I went as her guest, she knows lots of people and is great at the networking. So it was like, oh, good to see you again, blah, blah, blah. This is my friend Lindsey, blah, 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 and like kind of just all over. And it felt to me very much like quick, short introductions and no real connection, which is hard for me. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is uncomfortable and I don't belong here. And I could feel myself like shrinking down and going in sort of thing. And then it was actually, so the sort of turning point that came. So we had some mingling, then we sat down and listened to the speakers, then we had lunch. And at lunch, we went out to get some, not everybody did, but I went out with my friend to get some photos taken by the event photographer. And so we did a few together. That was actually the whole reason I went to this event, was that Emer and I wanted pictures together. But we live very far away. We weren't going to get any. So I went to London just to take a picture with Emer. So I did that. Anyway, then I popped back out right afterwards to talk to the photographer on my own and said, if you've got just a few minutes, would you mind taking a few pictures just of me? And then that was the turning point for me, because getting just me in front of the camera, and I like did my whole, like I do this big like power stance where I'm like big and energetic, and it loosened up my energy. And just those few minutes with me and the photographer on my own brought me back into my own energy and reminded me of like, no, this is the true me. It's not this scared girl in the corner feeling like she doesn't belong here. That is a version, and that version was alive for a very long time and is obviously still part of me in there. But actually, this connected me back to my truest me. No, I am full of big energy. I know who I am. I am fun. I love talking to people. I love connecting to people in my way. And after that few minutes in front of the camera, which is what activated it, I walked back in there and was so much more comfortable talking to people and actually connecting. And part of it was I separated from Emer a little bit at this point. She was busy in conversation because I'd been out. And then I started talking to people on my own and got deeper into the conversation. I would really like to point out, this is nothing to do with Emer making me uncomfortable, in case it came across that way. Not at all what I meant. What I meant was we have different ways of talking to people, particularly because she already knew people and I did not. So really leaning into my way of doing it and going, rather than like flitting from person to person, which works when you already have the connection, for me, I needed to just like talk to one person and find out their story. And I did that for several minutes. I don't know how long it was, but a prolonged period of time. Then they went to do something else. I talked to another person and heard their story. And that is where I am most comfortable. That is where I can go, yeah, this is real connection. That's what works for me and lights me up. So to get back to the question of like, yeah, hints, tips, experience, whatever, it's do whatever works for you to bring you back into yourself, to ground you back into you and your highest self, your truest self. For me, it was a few minutes in front of a professional camera. Other people might absolutely hate that, but that was enough for me to unlock that. It was the power stance, the bringing out my energy, because it wasn't the camera that did it, but it was the camera that like allowed me to turn on that energy in myself. So do whatever it is that allows you to turn up your own energy. And then really just do it in the way that feels best to you. If you love working a room and you want to like go and make it your mission to like talk to everybody in the room by the end of the day, great, do that. If that makes you want to shake in the corner, like it does to me, don't do that. Then just be like, you know what, my goal is to come away with like 2 people's names. Or like in fact, the person I connected with the most at the event was the very last person I spoke to at the end of the day. And she just like, we just got each other's waves and energy. And I was like, oh. So I came away with her contact information. She's the only person whose contact information I got was the person at the very end of the day. But I was like, oh, like I want to continue this connection. This feels good. So do it your way. Do what lights you up. There had been also, they gave out a card at the beginning of like, find somebody whose birthday month is the same as yours. Find somebody who can name all 9 reindeer. Find somebody who, it meant to be conversation starters. I fucking hate those. Hate them. Now, old version of Lindsey would have done them anyway because I'm a rule follower. So if you gave me the assignment, the homework, I would have absolutely done the homework. Current version of Lindsey said, fuck that. I don't care if I do the homework. Like, it's meant as a conversation starter, but it's just going to make it really awkward for me, and it's going to do surface level connection instead of real level connection. So I didn't use it at all. And that's fine. Nobody yelled at me. I didn't get ousted from the island just because I didn't do it. Like, it didn't matter at all. I honestly don't even know if there was, like, anybody collecting them. I never saw it come back anyway. So yeah, do it your way. That's what I have to say. All of that said, I still very much believe in pushing yourself to your edges. I believe in going past your comfort zone. I believe in doing new things, stretching those edges. That is where the growth comes in. So when I'm saying, like, for me, I'm more comfortable doing it that way, I don't mean, like, just going to the event is already stretching the edges. So once you're at that, you can find a level of comfort within there. I don't mean do everything that sends your whole nervous system alight and you're all like, oh my God, my whole being wants to melt down right now. We don't want your whole being to melt down. So do the scary thing, but find ways to make it feel safe to you. Find ways to soothe your system while doing the scary thing. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I know it was shorter than usual, but I have got to go collect my kids. So I will be back here. Where are we? Yes, I'll be back here next week for another Tea Break Chat next week. And then it'll be Christmas after that. Oh my gosh. So just really, really quickly before I run, I am running a 90-day intimacy experiment, a 1-to-1 90-day intimacy experiment that starts in January, where you get to experience what it is like to do this intimacy work yourself and the difference that it makes in your life. So if you are interested in that, send me a message. I will give you the details. Like I said, it starts in January, but signups are happening right now. So message me for that. Keep your eye out for a new program that will be launching after Christmas. I am not going to tell you any more about it yet, but keep your eye out. And if there's anything else that you want to chat about, anything that came up today, more questions, if you have a question for next week, just get in touch. Basically, this is a chat. I want to chat. I want to talk to you. So send me a message about like literally anything. Okay. I love you all. Have to run. See you next week. Bye.